Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Wembley Fraggle from Fraggle Rock. He goes with the rest of my set. For this pattern, you're going to need a yellow or a very light green, 1 pink, 3 reds, some white, dark green, a light orange. I'm going to be incorporating orange on the looping process this time, and I'll show you afterwards how you can weave on palm trees, or you can use beads if you've got some tropical looking beads to add on there. I'm also going to put on and show you how to put on a couple of small orange beads for the buttons. We'll do a neater job next time too. And for the eyes, I will be using a couple of round pearl beads and drawing on the pupils with a black marker. The beads will be added using a piece of dental floss. I think that's most of it covered. You're going to want a couple of C-clips, a hook and holding hook, and your loom in the offset configuration. So I think we're ready to start. Let's begin with with their legs. We're going to take a single, I'm just going to say yellow, but whenever I say yellow, use the color that you've chosen for your skin tone here, or fur tone. Take a single, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. Take another single, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. And we'll do 2 more of these so that we have a total of 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to take 2 more for colored bands and push these on top. You can move them a couple at a time if that's easier. And we're going to take a single yellow, wrap it on the end of the hook 1, 2, 3 times, and replace the other end. If this is difficult for you, what you can do is, I'll show you both methods here. Replace the first piece and then wrap your single 1, 2, 3 times, and then pull the first piece over. So both of these work the same way. You just might find the second way is a little easier. This is going to go on to 2 more yellow bands. Try and keep your pieces in order. And then we're going to lay this all onto another 6 sets of double yellow bands. So take 2 bands together, put them on the end of your hook and pull through. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Make the other leg, the other foot the same way. So get 4 single yellows ready. End of the hook, wrap 1, 2, 3 times. Wrap 1, 2, 3 times. And we got 2 more to go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull onto 2. Wrap 1 on the end, or replace, wrap and then pull over. Replace the other side. We're going to put this onto 2 bands, and then onto another 6 sets of double or 2 bands. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just going to transfer these onto another hook so that they are out of the way and I can keep track of which are legs and which are arms, because they are going to look a little similar. So in my case, my legs will be on the thicker hook. For your arms, you're using the same color. You're going to start with a single and wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. Take another single, stretch it, twist it, double it over onto itself so it's nice and tight. Put it on the end and push your wrapped band over. Replace, And we need a total of 4 of these. Okay, so we're going to wrap them 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, and onto a doubled over single. 2 to go here. 1, 2, 3. Double it over, pull it through. Last one. We're going to take a single, stretch it, twist it, double it over onto itself, and pull all of these on top. You can, I guess you could put this on your loom to do if that's easier, but that might be just as difficult. I'd say it's faster to do it by hand. Just watch that you don't lose any on the way. Do this carefully. Going to take a single, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times on the end of the hook, and then pull one side of that first piece over. And this is going to go onto 5 sets of double yellow bands. So here's 1, even it out, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm just going to show you my original here again so you can decide if this is the length that you want, because we're gonna add on a little bit of white. So if you want this a little longer, you can add an extra set of white or of yellow. I'm just going to switch to white now and put on my 2 sets of double white bands. And last thing for the arm is to take 2 white bands. We're going to stretch them a little bit, put it over the hand, twist, stretch it over the hand again, and roll that up until we've got a little cuff. Now that part is optional. Without it, it will look like this. But just looking at the pictures of him, he always has a bit of a cuff there, so that's what I was going for. Make the other arm. Single wrapped 1, 2, 3 times onto a doubled over single, and repeat for 3 more of those. You can always move the first arm onto another hook if it's in your way too. Should have mentioned that. Okay, we're going to put all this onto a doubled over single, so the 4 sets here. And we want a wrapped one in the middle. You can put that on the end and then pull the first piece over. I'm just going to stick it right in there. And 5 sets of double yellow bands. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're onto our whites. 1 set of double bands and 2 sets of double bands. And then grab 1 more set of double bands to, oops, that was kind of loose, to stretch it over here. And twist and bring it over again and roll it up. Okay, let's head to the loom for the next little bit. We're going to start on the frame for the head and the body, and then we'll be adding pieces on as we go. So start with your fur color, 2 bands, top center to the top right, 2 bands, top center to the top left, down twice in the middle with double yellow bands, and down once on either side with double yellow bands. Take 2 yellow bands from the second side to the third center and repeat for the opposite side. And we're going to switch to dark green, come down from the third center to the third right, and from the third center to the third left, and twice down in the middle, third center to fourth center, double green, and the next set down will also be double green bands. And we're going to switch to white and come down. Well, we're going to switch to white, but we're going to incorporate some orange like I said. So let's put down 3 sets of double white in the middle. Let's do 2 here on the ladder tail. Okay, so we're gonna put our, I'm changing my order up. Okay, take 2 white bands, come down once on either side, from the third peg down to the fourth peg down. And then you're gonna put your arms, transfer them from the hook onto the third pegs down on either side. Then we'll have our hook free. We'll have a little more room to make our tail. We won't be overwhelmed with lots of stray pieces here. Okay. For the tail, take 3 orange bands. Wrap them once and twice. Pull onto a doubled over single light orange band. And we're going to put this all onto 6 doubled over green bands. So here's 1, double it over, pull it through. 2, stretch, twist, double over, pull it through. And we will need 4 more. And again, of course, you can play around with the length if you want it to be a little longer or shorter. You can add or subtract lengths accordingly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more. And this is what the length is at right now. Now put this onto 2 white bands. So slide them on the end of your hook, transfer. And instead of replacing, we're going to lay the band right across from your 7th peg down to your 8th peg down. Now originally I did everything in white, so it was a little bit more straightforward, but we're going to incorporate some orange here. So let's put 2 orange bands down from the 4th to the 5th peg on the right side, and we'll come down with 2 more sets of double white band on that side, and 1 set of double green. That takes you now to your 9th peg, no, to your 8th peg down. In the middle, we're going to lay down 1 set of double green bands just below that white, so under the tail piece. And on the opposite side, we're going to come down with white 1 more time, and then put on double orange bands, and then double white bands, and then double green bands. Let's get our legs ready here. So grab the hook with your legs, take 2 green bands, we're going to pull the yellow bands on top of that, stretch that across the bottommost pegs that you've used. So those are your 8 pegs down, I believe. Yeah. Alright, and sort of separate the legs to either side. We're going to put some holding bands down, and then we'll do a little extension, and then we can do the first part of looping. Okay, so I'm also going to point out to you, his body comes out kind of round and thick, so if you want it to be really thin, you can leave out the extension, and if you want it to be a little thick but not too round, you can use doubled over singles, which I think that's what I'm going to do. So take a white, twist, double it, stretch, twist, double it over, bring it across your 4th pegs down, make a triangle. And the next one could be white as well. We're gonna repeat 3 more times. So 1, 2, and 3. My last one can be green. I'm not gonna double this one over, but you can, it's up to you. You can even leave that one off if you're trying to save bands there. For the side extension, we're gonna start with the one for the right side. We need, I wrote this down somewhere here, 1 white band. We're gonna wrap it once and twice onto the hook, and then pull that onto 4 sets of double white bands. So that means 2 bands together. 1 time, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to turn this around so I'm on the right side and transfer the bands from my hook onto the 3rd peg down on that side. And then find the bottom of the chain where we've got that cap band or wrapped band. We should have 3 loops. This is going to go down onto the 7th peg down, so this is where your green began. And we're going to pull it to the side and grab a piece out of each chain to pull over each of the pegs that are in between here. Trying to grab them all from the intersection rather than reaching under and grabbing and pulling, because that's when you get kind of messy. Now for the other side, we're going to get a little more orange up here, or you can decide if you want it lower or whatnot. I'm going to put it right at the top, so a white wrapped once and twice. Hold on to double white, double white, double white, and then double orange. If you want to have more orange or less orange on his Hawaiian shirt, you can arrange your oranges accordingly. Like I said, you don't have to have any oranges on at all, or you can do what I did the first time, which was to kind of stick them on, weave them on as an after the fact. But I don't think it looks as nice as this will. So that's why I'm incorporating the orange directly into the shirt. And I'm grabbing a piece out of each chain to pull over the pegs. We're gonna loop most of the body up, and then we're gonna release some of the tension, and then we'll take a little go in a different direction. So I'm going to the 9th peg down in the middle, grabbing the greens and looping them forward. Grab the whites that have the tail, loop those forward, and loop up 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. Stop at the 4th peg from the top. We're going to go on to the side closest, and we're going to look for the bottom row of double bands. Point the open part of the hook away from you, push back your holding bands and your leg band, catch the bottom 2, loop them forward, and place them onto the next peg. This is what we're going to do. Push back everything but the bottom 2, grab them, bring them forward, and we're going to go up 3 more times. If you find things are getting stuck or overlapping, you can use your hook or your finger to pull the bands out, get a better grip on them. Go from the 3rd peg down on the side to the 3rd peg down in the center. We're looking for the bottom 2 green. And we need to loop up in the opposite side, doing the same thing. You can turn your loom around if you need to. Oh, it feels very tensiony here. Not sure why. Alright. Nothing wrong, just a little tight. Oh, I know why. I didn't double my bands over the first time. That's why it's a little different. That's all good. Bottom 2 green from the 3rd peg down on the right to the 3rd peg down in the center. Go back to the 4th peg down in the center and loop up once. Now you're gonna keep your thumb on the 3rd peg down in the middle, and you can ease off some of the body until you're almost up there. So you'll see what I'm doing. I'm releasing it from the sides. I'm not going to take off the piece with the arm just yet. I want this to be kind of sturdy here. But I also want to make a little room at the bottom of the loom because we're going to just make a couple pieces for the face. So up to about there, you can ease that off. Oh, it looks like a little muscle band now. Well, it'll be good when we get them off the loom. Next up, we're going to make the bottom part of the face with the tongue. The tongue is optional. You can leave that out if you want to. We're going to take fur colored, or in my case, yellow bands. We're coming down. We're going to go count up 3 pegs from the bottom and lay down 2 yellow bands from the 3rd peg from the bottom to the 2nd peg from the bottom. Mirror it on the other side. And then we want a doubled over single yellow from the bottommost peg in the middle to the 2nd peg from the bottom on the left, and same for the opposite side. If you're making the tongue, the mouth, this is what you're going to do. Take a pink, wrap 1, 2, 3 times, pull onto 3 red bands, okay, and then take a yellow band, pull it through, stretch that across. So if you haven't done the tongue, you're just going to put a yellow band across, and this is going from the 2nd peg from the bottom on one side straight across. Last part of the bottom of the mouth is take a single yellow, put it on the bottommost center peg, twist, wrap 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times if you think you can. We don't want it to be too floppy. Then we need to reach underneath that cap for the doubled over band that's coming from the right. You can loop up on that side, and again for the opposite one, and loop up. And we're going to leave it there just for the moment. Let's do a little bit of work on the top of the face here. All right, here's the big one. It's the hair. Now, this is a lot like what I did for Rainbow Fraggle, so it might look familiar if you've seen that video. We are going to take a single orange, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times on the hook, pull it onto a doubled over single light orange, and a second doubled over single light orange, so it'll be a little bit tall. You can play around with the height by adding or removing sets of doubled over singles, and I'm going to make a total of 6 of these. So that was 1, this is 2. Wrap 3 times, pull it onto 1 doubled over single and onto another doubled over single. And the 3rd one. Oops. Uh-oh, that one popped off. Can we save it? Yes, good. That's 3. There you go. You can wrap them an extra time if they are a little bit stretched out. And I've got 1 more to do. 3, 4, 5, 1 more. These are all going to go onto 2 orange bands. So it's going to be a bit of a tight fit. I'll tell you, this is going to go onto your top side pegs and stretch across and over the center. I'll show you what that looks like right away. Make sure we're getting all the pieces over correctly. I want it to have a little bit of movement here. And let's separate them so that we have 3 on either side of that top center peg. Let's do our eyes. I would recommend beads. If you're doing bands, you can wrap each one 3 times and pull them both onto a single yellow. With beads, these have a smaller hole, so instead of putting them on the hook to transfer, I'm going to put them on a piece of floss, or you could use some thin wire. They're going to go over a yellow fur colored band, or rather the floss will go through that band and then it goes back over and back through the eyes from the opposite direction. This is a good way to thread on things with small holes. This is how I do my my ribbon bows as well. The wire to pull it through. Got that tutorial up on my channel somewhere if you're interested. This one doesn't want to go. There we are. And grab the end and pull it through. This will also, this will also go onto, darn, the second peg, or sorry, the top peg on either side. I'm going to do that part again. I deliberately picked beads with larger holes on them. But as I say, I'll try this again. It's okay. Sometimes it's a little bit tight. Alright, top side peg to top side peg, whatever kind of eyes you've used. Separate and pull it over the top center peg. Or you could, I guess you could keep them together in the middle if you just want to have them across, but this way it sits over the rest. Let's check that we've got everything for this part and then we can continue. Okay. I'm going to put a single folding band across the second pegs down. Now you want to get under the neck, find your top 2 yellows, and bring them up and to the right. The next 2 will go to the left. And then the next ones are going to go up, and then I'll get you to pause there for a second so we can get the bottom of the mouth attached. What I'll have you do is come to the bottom of your loom, and you're going to put your hook pointing down through one side on that 3rd peg from the bottom, and then over and through the other side. You can remove it from the loom there. Kind of get your tongue in place here as best you can. And then what we're going to do is take half of those bands and put them on the second peg down on one side, and the other half will go onto the second peg down on the other side. Let's make the part for the top of the mouth. So come back to the bottom of your loom. We're going to start at the 3rd peg up from the bottom in the middle with 2 yellow bands, and then put 3 yellow bands underneath on either side. 2 bands down from the 3rd peg from the bottom to the 2nd peg from the bottom. Do the same on the opposite side. And then we're going to put down 2 bands from the bottom center to the second peg from the bottom on the side. Repeat. Doubled over triangle band. This is going to go across all of your second pegs from the bottom and cap it off nice and tight on the bottom center peg. Wrap 1, 2, 3, and if you can handle it 4 times. Let's loop this up. Get underneath your cap band. Pull your top 2 bands to the left, the next 2 to the right, and then we're gonna loop up the center. From here you can loop up all the way on either row, so I'll have to do that again in a second. See, that got a little bit tangled, so I'm going to pull it down again so I can see those. Use my hook to release it. Still can't see which they are. It's tricky when you have several of the same color, don't you think? Oh, that's right, we had 3. That's why I'm having trouble grabbing just 2. There we go, and forward. Put your hook through, again point the open or the end of it away from you, and you're going from on top and downwards. This is going to go onto, let's see, we've got 12 bands or 12 loops, so first 4 will go onto the second peg down on the side, next 4 onto the center second peg down, the last ones will go onto the second peg down on the opposite side. What I would recommend, if you think you can comfortably do it, is after you've laid down your first 4, get inside with your hook or another hook and loop up the bottom 2. And that's why, because it's already popping off. Let's try that again. This is why I'm saying it, because we're going to have a lot of bands, so you want to secure them as quickly as you can. I'm going to use another hook, I think. So I'm just going to leave that there for the moment. I'm going to reach in for the bottom 2 and loop those forward to the very top, and that way I know that my bands aren't going to fall off from there. Next 4 will go over the edge of the hook and onto the second peg down in the middle. Now I have a little more room on my hook, so I can bring that forward, loop up from there, use another hook if you want to. Or you can lay down all of these bands and then loop. And the last set goes on the second peg down on the side. Get to the bottom for those bottom 2, bring them forward. Whew, almost done here. Okay, go in on the top side peg, and we want the bottom 2 bands. They're coming diagonally from the center. So we need to push back everything above those, grab those 2, and bring them in. The same for the opposite side. We're looking for 2 more yellows. Bringing them around. I'm going to try and get them under the eyes here, but you can adjust it after. Take 1 or 2 yellow bands. Get them ready on your left hand. With your right hand, point the open part of the hook away from you. Put your hook through all of the bands in the top center peg. Want to really make sure we get through all of them so nothing unravels. Grab your 1 or 2 securing yellow bands and pull them through. And you can see as I've come up, I've turned my hook so the open part is pointing upwards, facing up. Put the other side on and pull one side over the other to create a slip knot. Now you can put this on a hook, your finger, or a C-clip, and we can ease our Wembley off of the loom. And then I'll show you what we can do about his shirt design and the buttons. Okay. So I'm gonna turn to the back for a minute, put my hook under a couple of yellow bands and grab my securing bands, pull them under. This is gonna go onto a C-clip. And just for the moment, I'm going to leave that there. If you want, you can put it under a nearby band so that it doesn't flop around as much. Okay, so next up, if you would like to use some wrapped up orange bands or some little yellow beads for your buttons. What we'll do is thread them on individually onto an orange or a white band, kind of up to you here. I'm going to use orange. So the floss goes through the bead, through the band, back over, back through, and pull. Center it a little bit. Now I'm going to find his lower side, about the place where the green is starting. Put my hook through, take one side of the orange, pull it to the back. And I'm going to go through again. This is the back you're looking at. I'm reaching through a little further over. I'm going to grab the other side and pull it to the back and under the other piece. And this can go onto a C-clip. And we'll add the other button the same way. So get my floss. Get an orange band. Pull it through, back over, back through the bead. Slide it on. I'm going to move over just a little bit to the side, so this is maybe more towards the center, but I want to try to stay in the same line horizontally. Grab one side and pull it through, holding on to the other side. In the meantime, you can use a C-clip or a hook to keep that in place if you're worried about it. Reach through a little bit to the side and grab the rest of the band, pull it to the back. You can adjust these a little bit to where you want them. And then we want to weave these bands in a little bit better, make it a little bit tighter. I'm going to go under a nearby white band and pull those two orange through and put the C-clip on, and then they won't be quite as floppy here. Now if you wanna get really fun with this and make a couple of little palm trees, I'll kind of show you how to go about that. So I'm going to go through the side, through the white part, grab a green band, pull it partway to the back, pop it on that C-clip that we've got there. Maybe I'm going to take off one of the bands that's on and put that through. Just trying to, I don't want to clutter this up too much, so I want to share the C-clips. There we go. Or you can use another one, it doesn't really matter. So it's just, like I said, makes it a little less messy. Reach up to about where the orange starts, maybe middle of the orange there. Grab the green and pull it to the back. Again, this can go on the C-clip. I'm going to start another C-clip, I think. And we're going to do 3 little pieces similar to that we're going to have meet. So one of them is going to go also into the orange, but a little bit to the side. Grab it, pull it through, secure it on the C-clip or hold on to it for the moment. And when I come back, I'm going to come back where that first green piece ended if I can. Put the piece on, pull it through. As I said right at the beginning, if you have some beads that look like little palm trees, or are even just green and you want to play around with them, that's a good option as well. I'm going to keep this one a little bit loose because I want it to show through here. And then I'm going to make a couple more sides. Just going to let that flop on the back for the moment. So reach in a little bit higher, pull my green through. I'll pull that other piece through that, through there. So that it's still kind of being held. And then put that on a C-clip for a minute so I can see what I'm doing. Reach down back to, just trying to see what I'm doing here. Okay, so then I want to reach through from the back to where the top of the tree is here. A little palm tree. Grab it, pull it back through. And we need one more piece. And this one's going to come out right by the side. I'm going to grab one of the other pieces we've used and pull it through. Just keep doing that so everything's holding something kind of. At least, like I said, for the moment, I'll just put this on the arm for now so it doesn't slip. Go back through to the top of that tree section. Pull the green through. So this might take a couple of tries to get it situated where you want, but it does work with a little bit of playing around. Now I'm going to go to the back and let's get everything kind of looped together so it's not all floppy. So I'm just pulling sort of one loose piece under another loose piece under another loose piece. Take the C-clip off for a minute. And I'm going to pull this across so that we have a little tension on it. Go under a loose piece, pull it under, go under a loose piece, pull it under. This can actually go onto the C-clip I've got the back of, the back of the head. Now if you want, you can have a totally different C-clip for each piece, or you could knot each piece. It's up to you. If you want to do some more little palm trees, you can. That's also up to you. I think I might make one more on this side before I put this in my final picture. And let's draw on the pupils and we'll be all finished. Okay, so for his eyes, we're just going to make a couple of black dots with a permanent marker. As round as you like, as big as you like. And your Wembley Fraggle is complete. Thank you so much for watching.